Hello and welcome everyone to Travel Time VR. Today we're going to be looking at the top 23 things to do in California. Starting at 23, the Wolf House. Jack London wrote so many books about wolves and dogs that his friends George Sterling gave him the nickname the Wolf. So when Jack started to build his dream home in 1911, it was only fitting that people would call it the Wolf House. Jack and his wife Charmaine never got to live in their home because one hot summer night in August 1913, a spontaneous combustion started a fire in the house. Nobody was living near the house, so the fire was quite advanced before anyone became aware of it. The Londons were sleeping in the cottage, the house you're seeing now, about a half a mile away, and were awakened by the farm workers who saw the red glow in the sky. They got on their horses and rode to their beloved dream house. By the time they got there, the house was so completely engulfed in flames and beyond saving. Although Jack vowed to rebuild the house, he did not live long enough to rebuild. Today we have a beautiful ruin. Jack London said, "All I wanted was a quiet place in the country to write and loaf in. To get out of nature, that's something which we all need, only the most of us know about. This is to be no summer resident proposition, but a home all year round. I am anchoring good and solid and anchoring for keeps." Number 22, China Camp. By the 1880s, Chinese Americans had established a village at China Camp of approximately 500 people, many of whom were originally from Canton, China. They supported themselves by shrimp fishing in the San Pablo Bay and working at local businesses. It is here today that the village had three general stores, a marine supply store, and a barber shop. China Camp was one of the approximate 26 such shrimp fishing villages established along the coast by Chinese Americans, many of whom had moved from San Francisco to escape the racial prejudice and persecution. For a brief time following the 1906 San Francisco earthquake and fire, China Camp population increased to 10,000 as residents of San Francisco Chinatown fled from the destruction. At number 21 is Bowling Ball Beach, located at Schooner Gulf State Park near Messino, a national process wherein sandstone are cemented together to larger formations over millions of years. Number 20, Old Sacramento State Park, located downtown in the heart of Sacramento itself. The city of Sacramento grew up in the mid-19th century as a development from Sutter Fort. The fort was far from the river, so Old Sacramento was created. A lot of the old buildings still stand, but they are used for different reasons like retail and restaurants. Number 19, Old Town San Diego, located in downtown San Diego. Old Town is a historic heart of San Diego. Created in the 1769s, Old Town San Diego was California's first settlement with only a mission and a fort. You can take a tour of a haunted building and spend a day at one of the many museums year-round. Old Town is the place for food, folklore, and fun. Visit Old Town, celebrate San Diego's heritage, and bask in the early California ambience. Number 18, Bob Hope's Memorial, down in San Diego, dedicated in July 8, 2009. Before his death in 2003, at the age of 100, Hope had performed in hundreds of USO events since 1941, entertaining U.S. military audience in theaters from World War II to the Gulf War in 1997. Number 17 is the USS Midway Memorial, also dedicated July 8, 2009. The Unconditional Surrender, the giant statue of a World War II sailor kissing the nurse. Coming at number 16, Mount Shasta. The first reliable reported land sighting of Mount Shasta was by Peter Skeen Ogden in 1826. In 1841, the name Shasta was given as the official name for the mountain. Number 15, Hollywood. According to the diary of H.J. Whitney, also known as Father of Hollywood, on his honeymoon in 1886, he stood at the top of a hill looking out over the valley. Along came a Chinese man in a wagon carrying wood. A man got out of the wagon and bowed. The Chinese man was asked what he was doing and replied, "Oh, I Hollywood," meaning hauling wood. So H.A. Whitney had an epiphany and decided to name his new town Hollywood. Coming at 14, the Avenue of the Giants, located in Redwood Forest. This 31-mile road is one of the best stretch of highways in all of California. I would put it next to Big Sur in terms of beauty that you would pass as you drive. The green, browns, and yellows will blow you away as you curve around the windy State Route 254 in search of your favorite spot. The Avenue of the Giant was originally stretched of the Route 101 until a freeway bypass was created in 1960. As for the park itself, it exists mostly because of a road trip three men took in 1917 when they were driving through the area and witnessed the destruction of these mighty trees. They set the movement to protect the area and turn it into a state park. Thanks to their work, the Avenue of the Giants can still be enjoyed today. Coming at number 13 is the Redwood Forest itself. Was discovered by Jedediah Smith in 1882. The discovery of gold along the Trinity River had led to a minor secondary rush of California. This brought miners into the area and may stay on the coast after failing to strike it rich. The miners lodged redwoods for buildings. When this minor gold rush ended, some of them turned again to logging, cutting down the giant redwood trees. And initially, over 2 million acres of the California and southern western coast of Oregon were old-growth redwood forests. But by 1910, extensive logging led conservatives and concerned citizens to begin seeking ways to preserve the remaining trees, which they saw being logged at an alarming rate in 1911. Coming at number 12, the Santa Monica Pier. Charles Looff built the first carousel in Coney Island in 1876. Then in 1916, his son, with the help of his dad, built what you now see as the Santa Monica Pier. Coming number 11, this is Carme Beach. The reason this beach is on my list is because the town and the area are just amazing. Small towns filled with amazing views. It is a gorgeous place to visit. I recommend you guys going down there. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Love the area. Coming in at number 10 is the famous Golden Gate Bridge. It started construction in January 5th, 1933 and finished in May 28, 1937. The bridge is actually named for the Golden Gate Strait, the narrow entrance between the Pacific Ocean and the San Francisco Bay. The strait was named by an explorer and U.S. Army officer, John C. Fremont, who marveled at its beauty in 1846. 2 years before the discovery of gold in California. I did not get a chance to go to Alcatraz. That would definitely be on my list to see, and you can see the island off there in the distance. So I recommend it. It's really busy, so you kind of got to schedule it out to see it, and I did not plan my visit very well, so you need to go see Alcatraz. Coming at number 9 is the famous Painted Ladies. We all remember the TV show Full House, but did you know the actual house was quite a ways off and now looks different? What does Painted Lady means? They're symbolic for a famous gold rush. With so much money coming into the city, San Francisco builders wanted to show off their money and their amazing homes. Number 8, Morro Bay. Morro Bay is a coastal city in California. It's known for Merle Rock, an ancient volcano mound at the end of Merle Rock Beach. The rock sits within Morro Bay State Park, home to lagoons, trails, and bird-rich saltwater marsh. The town is amazing with that small town feel, green and full of friendly people. Minus the big power plant, the city is amazing. Coming at number 7 on my list is Pigeon Point Lighthouse. Took its name from the ship carrier Pigeon that wrecked here in 1853. The opening was at sunset on November 15th in 1872. Number 6 is Point Barrios Lighthouse. In my opinion, the prettiest lighthouse in California. It had an amazing feel to the lighthouse. The lighthouse began construction in 1908 and began operation in 1909. Several shipwrecks prompted the Senate to build the lighthouse. And you can see just how gorgeous this area is, especially with the cloud cover. Number 5 is Burney Falls. Burney Falls was named after a pioneer settler Samuel Burney, who lived in the area in the 1850s. The MacArthur family were pioneer settlers who arrived in the late 19th century. Descendants were responsible for saving the waterfall and nearby land from development, purchasing the property and presenting it as a gift to the state in the 1920s. The falls were called the 8 Wonders of the World by President Theodore Roosevelt and were declared a national landmark in December 1954. Number 4, Big Sur. About 60% of the coastal region is owned by government or private agency, which do not allow any development. Big Sur has been called the longest and most scenic stretch of undeveloped coastline in the United States, a national treasure that demands extraordinary procedures to protect it from development, and one of the most beautiful coastlines anywhere in the world. An isolated stretch of road, mystic in reputation. The stunning views, numerous beaches, and recreational opportunities have made Big Sur a popular destination. When I went in April, there was hardly anybody there. So that is a good time to go. A lot of times people are saying it's just too busy, but as you can see, there was nobody there when I went in April. Number 3, Lake Tahoe. By far the most beautiful place to go in California / Nevada because it's on the border. Its depth is over 1,600 feet, making it the second deepest lake in the United States after Crater Lake in Oregon, which is 1,900. You can do so much here, including hiking, scuba diving, skiing both water and snow, kayaking, jet skiing, and many more. I personally love all the cool places to eat and relax. Come check it out. The water is beautiful. It's supposed to be so clear you'll be able to see 100 feet of visibility in scuba diving. Coming at number 2, Sequoia National Park. Sequoia National Park was first home to the Monochie Native Indians. Pictographs can be found at several sites within the park, notably the Hospital Rock. The first European settler to homestead the area was Hale Tharp, who famously built a home out of a hollow-out fallen giant sequoia log in the giant national next to the log meadow. In 1851, a widow from Illinois, Cholie Ann Smith Swanson, hired Thorpe to take her and her 4 sons to California in a covered wagon with 2 teams of oxen. They settled in Placeville, where Thorpe and then married Swanson. There is so much to see here on your trip. Google the heck out of this area on what to do in Sequoia. This is Merle Rock, a stairway designed by the National Park Service and built in the 1930s, is cut into the rock so that the visitors can hike to the top. It was 400 steps that led to the summit of Merle Rock. So you can see it is not that bad of a hike, not like the dome at Yosemite National Park that was scary. Coming at number 1 is Yosemite National Park. My favorite. What you are seeing is just one of the many creeks that flow throughout Yosemite Park. This one is called Snow Creek. The area was first discovered by the European Americans in 1951 by United States Army Major Jim Savage, who led the Mariposa Battalion into Yosemite to stop the wars between the Native Americans and the miners. In the company was Dr. Lafayette Bunnell, who named the area Yosemite. Yosemite might be our 3rd national park, but it has sparked the idea of national parks. 26 years before it was a national park, President Lincoln signed the Yosemite Land Grant on June 30th, 1864, protecting the Mariposa Grove and Yosemite Valley. It was the first time the government protected land because of its natural beauty so that people could enjoy it. And we're still benefiting from their foresight today. Thanks to John Muir, who is a writer passionately writing to protect the delicate ecosystem of the High Sierra, Yosemite later became a national park.